Surveys where they pitch their next big feature ideas. But when I see stuff like a VPN feature, server pets, and good old loot boxes, I just know things are doomed from the start. But here's the thing, I don't have just one survey that I'm looking at today, no. No. I have 4 today, no.
I'm going to show you my technique to making the perfect s'more. Bite off the very top part.
come at me, I'll be like, bah, you know what I mean? Be like, bah,
Talk about it, I just spit it, let the bass it. You never really wanna be the one to have to run up, turn and face it. You motherfucker really wanna be the one. Mami, te siento lejos, dime dónde estás.
We're just so excited to welcome this
Roblox is filled with games designed to make you spend every single Robux you own. Some can give actual benefits, some are scams, and some are big scams. But instead of talking about those games, let's go to the other side of Roblox with games that sell game passes that can be game changing and are actually worth buying. So let's start with a classic that has some of the most bought game passes in all of Roblox: Natural Disaster Survival. Natural Disaster Survival is one of the simplest games you can play on Roblox that's been around since 2011 with a pretty straightforward objective: survive different disasters on different maps. There's really no need to buy its game passes, but if you do, the game becomes so much easier. Tsunami incoming, jump over it with the balloon and also take less fall damage. Close to dying? Heal with the apple and get an insane win streak. Tired of playing the same maps? just vote for another one with the compass. With thousands of players every day, Stickmaster Luke has and still is earning millions of Robux from them, and because they're so cheap and hard to complain about, they're some of the most liked game passes in all of Roblox. However, there is one big problem with all 3 of these game passes. If you lose your right arm from a disaster, it's over. You can no longer use the items. Resetting to get your items back whilst looking this cool is really difficult. Next up in Jailbreak, we have a game pass that might seem kind of useless, but will help you more than you could ever imagine over time. Jailbreak is the biggest prison game on Roblox, where prisoners first need to escape prison, becoming criminals, and then police try to catch them. Criminals get money by robbing places, whilst the police get money for arresting them. And 99% of the time, you'll spend this money on buying better cars.
Jalkapallon naisten EM-kisat näkyvät ja kuuluvat Ylen kanavilla heinäkuussa.
But after hours of grinding for money and buying a fast and expensive car, you'll realize that you made a huge mistake. You bought a car worth over $100,000, meaning you can't spawn it in anywhere like you can with the cheaper cars. Every time you want to use the car, you have to go to a garage or alternatively go to the spawn location of the car. But with the Pro Garage Game Pass, all your car problems go away. Right after you escape prison, you can spawn in any car you own with the best garage modifications on it from spawn. This Game Pass will come in more handy than you could ever imagine, especially later on in the game when you have a ton of expensive cars. The Game Pass is 360 Robux, so if you're not ready to spend that amount of money, then another good Game Pass in Jailbreak is the Duffel Bag. This doubles the money you get for 12 out of the 16 robberies in the game, basically acting as a 2x money Game Pass for the criminal team for just 240 Robux. But if that's still too expensive, then let's move on to the cheapest Game Passes in Roblox for the size of the game. SCP-3008 with its most expensive Game Pass being 12 Robux. SCP-3008 is a base building survival game where you're stuck in giant IKEA. During the daytime you gather furniture to create shelter for the night when the employees, which are normally peaceful, start repeating the same sentence over and over, suddenly start attacking you.
Excuse me, but the store is now closed. Please exit the building.
It's a great idea for a game, but there is a twist. Every time you leave the game, you need to start over because everything you build and every item you collect only saves in the server you played in. When the last person in the server inevitably leaves, everything you've built disappears. Anyway, most developers would probably add game passes like more health and more energy, or maybe even make food last longer. But instead of making the game easier for those who bought game passes, Ugly Burger decided to make the benefits useful and cheap, but as fair as possible for free-to-play players. For only 8 Robux, you can get a personal watch to always be prepared for when to loot and when to hide, showing you when it will become nighttime and daytime. If you still think this Game Pass is unfair for free-to-play players, consider that the game might actually be more fun and scary without it. The stress of suddenly hearing the clock ticking when you're in an open area is something else. The other 2 Game Passes are waypoint based, which are markers you can put around the map to find places you never want to lose. One doubles the number of waypoints from 4 to 8 for 8 Robux, and the other automatically gives you a waypoint to wherever you die so you can find your base or items. But all in all, 28 Robux for all 3 Game Passes in a game that gets around 30,000 players every day. Even private servers which give you an admin gun are only 10 Robux. Does Ugly Burger hate money? Now let's go from Swedish meatballs to American burgers with the game Cook Burgers. Cook Burgers is a game where you work in a restaurant kitchen making burgers and fries for customers, but with random
I recently booted up the newest South Park game, ran to get a drink, and came back to Cartman roasting me.
I can't hold this pose forever. Let's go. Are you gonna play or what?
So this got me thinking, what are all the games out there that punish you for going AFK? And that question immediately led me to Goat Sim 3. There's so many random places in this game like the yoga class, which actually offers you a mat to join in and chill out.
Please take a seat on the mat.
Once you sit here though, he'll blab for like the next 5 minutes about random nonsense.
Humans have 2 legs, but you can also say that a human has 4 legs.
What?
You quite literally have to go AFK to get to the end of this.
That all this is just a game. And you've been sitting here for 4 minutes, thinking about you might get a little surprise.
Photopea, or Photopea, is an alternative to Photoshop that runs in the browser and doesn't cost any doubloons. Great news for someone who doesn't like the sea.
Where do your allegiances lie?
And to Linux users, since Adobe apps don't work on Linux. And since I mostly use Photoshop for making thumbnails, I'll investigate if Photopea is any good or not by doing that. Skabadoosh. So first, let's see which one of my thumbnails I'm going to try to recreate. Ooh, this one would be annoying. What about this one? It will require some... Why is it autoplaying? It will require some masking, which could be a decent stress test for Photopea. Let's quickly yoink this thumbnail. Original. And I'm going to try to recreate this inside of Photopea. Photopea. Now, the only thing I know about it is that it's free and it works in the browser, so you don't have to download anything. Obviously, we're going to have to see some advertisements. Boom. Photopea. New project, open from computer or templates. Let's do new project. And I want my thumbnail to be exactly this. Okay. I'll name the project thumbnail. Boink. Okay, first test, do keyboard shortcuts work here? So if I do Alt and scroll, will it zoom in? Ooh, okay. What if I do P for the pen tool? This looks promising. Control Shift N for new layer. Yes. Okay. Whoops, almost accidentally closed this. So first things first, we're going to need a background. And it has this color, which I have no idea. I do have an idea. This is Firefox. And I saw a comment teaching me how to pick a color in Firefox. Let's quickly investigate. There we go. Silicon Fire. Instead of downloading a color picker, you could have just used one that comes with Firefox. Alt-T-B-Y. Alt-T-B-Y. Nope, that was within Photopea. Alt-T-B-Y. Boom. And I can pick a color. I love comments like this. Shout out to Silicon Fire. Now I can just yoink this color. And so how do I now set it as the background? Is it the exact same as in Photoshop? I just go here and color fill. Yes, paste it in. Okay, and it's done. Wait, this is like actually Photoshop. It's not even, it is Photoshop. Can I change the color if I double click? Now I can just yoink. This color. And so how do I now set it as the background? Is it the exact same as in Photoshop? I just go here and color fill. Yes, paste it in. Okay, and it's done. Wait, this is like actually Photoshop. It's not even, it is Photoshop. Can I change the color if I double click here? Womp, 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 womp. Look at that animation. Can I increase and decrease my brush size by holding Alt and dragging right with my right mouse button? Yes, I can. And what about the hardness? Yes, I can drag up or down. This is crazy. Okay, we have the background. Next, I need the Apple logo. Apple logo PNG. Wait, can it import SVG files? SVG. Let's yoink this SVG, save page as. Now, if I try to import it, does it work? It does. Now, this Apple logo is very hard to see, so let's duplicate this layer by holding Alt. That works. Then I want to change the color of the Apple logo to be white and the background to stay black. And for that, G-Save Photoshop. It's not even, it is Photoshop. That was within, set it as the background. Is it the exact same as instead of downloading a color picker, you could have just used one that comes with Firefox. Alt T B Y. Alt T B Y. Nope, that was within Photopea. Alt T B Y. Boom. And I can pick a color. I love comments like this. Shout out to Silicon Fire. Now I can just yoink this color. And so how do I now set it as
This is Rebecca's First House, a Roblox game that I've never seen before. So, how did I end up here? Well, I was sent by a game called Place Roulette, which allows you to travel to completely random Roblox games. After being teleported, the first thing I noticed were all these clones standing next to this weird contraption, which I learned was actually a cloning machine. So after cloning myself a few times, I decided to break into this house, only to be met with a very disturbing scene. I quickly fled the house and tried to ask a zombie for help, but I got no answer. And his friends couldn't help since they were all in jail. Then I saw a giant zombie in the distance and got scared, so I tried to flee in the school bus, but I accidentally ran over a family of foxes, which caused the bus to get stuck. I tried making it a bit lighter, but this only made things worse. With no other options left, I borrowed this UFO and headed off to find help. And as long as it doesn't run out of gas, we should be alright. This is Rebecca's first.
I wanna dance in the lights. I wanna rock your body. I wanna go for a ride. Hop in the music and rock your body.
I'm a virtual AI.
dance in the lights. I wanna rock your body. I wanna go for a ride. Hop in the music and rock your body.
You may have the creamy peanut butter, but I got.
Tomato ketchup! If he got the Heinz tomato ketchup, I got the.
Yeah.
You may have the creamy peanut butter, but I got.
Tomato ketchup! If he got the Heinz tomato ketchup, I got the.
Miksi nämä pelikoneet maksaa niin paljon? Mä tilaan tällaisen vaan Temusta. Ei kannata, mieluummin tilaisin vaan Preenyviltä. Me myydään käytettyjä pelikoneita, jotka on oikeasti täysin uuden verosia. Eli kaikki huonokuntoiset osat on vaihdettu pois ja ne on huollettu ja ne on tarkastettu ammattimaisesti. Preenyviltä saa myös takuun, jota ei todellakaan saa mistään Temusta. Heräskö kiinnostus? Tsekkaa preenyv.fi. Miksi nämä pelikoneet maksaa niin paljon? Mä tilaan tällaisen vaan Temusta.
Win the sky, the sky, the sky. It's not a bird and it's not a plane. And it's not an egg salad sandwich. It's the waistband warrior. Hear his mighty battle cry. Tra-la-la. Underpants. Hey, watch out, crime. Underpants. It's waging power time. Na-na-na-na-na. Captain Underpants. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Underpants. He's busting down doors. Underpants.
I wanna
win the win the sky. Driving in my car right now.
I wanna get.
If you play Roblox,
Do you guys remember the girl who reported this sound? Now it gives you a warning every time you use it.
Who took the cookie? Who took the cookie from the cookie jar?
Eric!
Took the cookie from the cookie jar.
Who, me?
Yes, you.
Couldn't be.
Then who?
John!
Took the cookie from the cookie jar.
Who, me?
Yes, you.
They found out. All right, everybody on the floor.
Look out, he's got a gun! Oh my god!
Who took the cookie from the cookie jar? Who took the cookie from the cookie jar?
Eric!
Took the cookie from the cookie jar.
Who, me?
Yes, you.
Couldn't be.
Then who?
John!
Took the cookie from the cookie jar.
Who, me?
Yes, you.
They found out. All right, everybody on the floor.
Look out, he's got a gun! Oh my god!
Let's go back to 2010. Roblox was in a strange middle ground phase between their wacky, cartoonish, borderline Lego clone physics game era of the late 2000s and the early 2010s, where they started to take themselves more seriously and the community started to grow exponentially. The front page was dominated by social hangout games like Apartment Life, Iron Cafe, and Robloxaville, and a developer named OneDev2 began taking notes. He created a game named Welcome to the Town of Robloxia in early 2010 that many early players likely remember. As Roblox grew even further in 2011 and 2012, partly due to increased promotion and newfound accessibility, the game quickly became one of the biggest games on the platform for the time, though this wasn't without issues. At the time, Roblox had a huge place stealing problem. Take infamous examples like Jared Valdez and Julius Coles, developers who were caught multiple times in the early 2010s, reposting games stolen with exploits and getting them on the front page, though there were many more culprits. Welcome to the Town of Robloxia was a huge target for place stealers at the time. Back in the day, it was relatively common for Roblox staff to steal front page games and use them for private testing purposes. Here, David Baszucki uploaded Welcome to the Town of Robloxia to a place slot that was already on copy locked, mistakenly letting thousands of players get a stolen copy of the game. In fact, it's still there today in a place slot from 2006, though it's no longer on copy locked. The same thing happened to Fear, a horror game OneDev2 made in 2010, though to a much lesser extent. When a huge security oversight let a group of players breach the Roblox admin panel on April 1st, 2012, OneDev2's account was compromised, and tons of Robux and limiteds were stockpiled onto the account. Amidst the chaos of the day, one of the hijackers used stolen Robux to buy an eerie pumpkin head on OneDev2's account, one of the most sought after limited hats of all time. That action got OneDev2's account entirely banned, and it hasn't been touched since. Here's where the topic of the chapter comes into play. In November 2011, just months before his account was hacked, OneDev2 released a game called Crash. The premise was simple: spawn vehicles and watch them explode into tons of pieces as you ride them off cliffs, out of the windows of parking garages, and into towers rigged with dynamite. The game was reminiscent of a simpler time in Roblox's history, because at one point, extremely straightforward games like this were commonplace on the front page. In February 2012, the game was made private, and all that's left of it now is a collection of exceptionally obscure, low-quality recordings taken with Roblox's built-in screen recorder. Some of these quite literally had 0 views when I found them, despite being over 12 years old. 5 months after OneDev2 was banned from Roblox, he uploaded a montage of recordings he took while playing Crash to YouTube. The description says, "This was one of my games called Crash. It was so fun, but it's gone," implying that he no longer had the game saved on his computer and couldn't re-upload it to his new account, meaning he couldn't do anything about the game being locked away on his old deleted account. So that's one option down. Unfortunately, there's a minuscule chance that this game was stolen while it was open, as strange as me saying that may sound, because if a stolen copy resurfaced nowadays, it would be the only way to play this game at all. Not only did Crash only have 2,000 visits, despite OneDev2 creating a game that was once literally the most played Roblox game ever, but it was originally restricted to those who had Builders Club memberships, because yes, that was a feature back in 2011. As a result, most people didn't get to play it when it was first released, and there was only so much time between OneDev2 opening it up to all players and OneDev2 closing it. To put this in modern Roblox terms, imagine if the creator of Brookhaven had a place open for 6 months, it only got 4 visits, and was closed, never to be seen again. That's basically what happened here. Crash is just one of many examples of an obscure Roblox game that has seemingly vanished from the platform, with no one to re-upload copies and every option for trying to find the game completely exhausted. This next chapter's story starts with Call of Robloxia, a Roblox recreation of the Zombies mode in Call of Duty World at War, released in early 2011 by Logitech 101, a Roblox developer you may know nowadays for games like Project Lazarus. While broken and closed now, this game was huge at the time. A year later, Logitech 101 was involved in a collaborative FPS project with developer Spooky Fox, called Authority, originally Call of Robloxia Authority. Authority was a team FPS game released on June 16th, 2012, though it had been in the works for up to a few weeks prior. The game itself was a round-based FPS game between 2 teams, Enforcement and Criminals. The game mostly focused on team deathmatch, though other game modes like Demolition were added in the later stages of its development. Authority was a pretty well-made game for its time, and it was rather popular from 2012 to 2014, receiving over 1.7 million visits in that time frame. It peaked in popularity around late 2012 and early 2013, though some stuff had supposedly broken due to Roblox updates at the start of 2014. Authority stopped receiving consistent updates in early 2014, and rather quickly its active player base dwindled. From October 2018 to early 2019, unknown individuals made multiple attempts to hack into and compromise Spooky Fox's account, and the account was eventually banned and deleted in the summer of 2019. Authority is a very interesting piece of Roblox lost media, because the game is still public and technically is still playable. The thing is, a round will never start. Initially, Authority was broken by the filtering enabled updates in 2018 that broke a large percentage of old games that had scripts running locally off players' computers instead of the server. This update was meant to prevent exploiters, but it kinda backfired. However, even if Authority was played inside an earlier version of Roblox that wasn't affected by these updates, the game would still be broken, because all of the assets themselves, such as guns and maps, are now lost to time. Instead of storing guns, maps, and other assets inside the game itself, they were all stored as off-sale models on the now terminated Spooky Fox Roblox account, and grabbed by the game via insert service. Insert service requests would only work with off-sale models if the requests were coming from a game owned by the owner of said model. But because these models are off sale on a now terminated account, they're essentially gone for good. When I asked Logitech 101 about the matter, he said he only had the base RBXL, which wouldn't be very helpful here considering it has none of the guns or maps. Out of all of the Authority related assets that were held on Spooky Fox's account, only one map, Hempton Evacuation by George256, added in May 2013, was accidentally left on sale, and as a result, this is the only available asset from the game. This story doesn't have that bad of an ending though, because this year, one of the developers at Rolf published a game called Enforcement, which is currently in beta testing and was heavily inspired by the original Authority from 2012. It's a fast-paced, team-based FPS game with a very similar premise, though with more game modes and unique maps. The original version of Authority, for the most part, is still considered lost media. As I've said before in videos, Roblox didn't have any multiplayer servers for games made by normal users until September 2006. In the summer of 2006, the only Roblox games with multiplayer servers were games made by the admins, like Crossroads, Haunted Mansion, and certain test places. From late 2006 to May 2007, the Roblox games page was split into two sections, games made by the staff and games made by ordinary Roblox users. To see previews of what the Roblox website looked like in 2006, I'm using a service called the Wayback Machine, which displays snapshots of websites from different periods of time. For years, the user games section on 2006 archives of the games page was thought to have been completely inaccessible information. Because it wasn't its own page, clicking the user games button would trigger a JavaScript command that showed the user games on the page, though this doesn't work on the archive. However, it was recently discovered that because Roblox's website was built on Microsoft's ASP.NET website framework, the data that tells us what the most popular user-made games were at the time of the archive can be viewed through what's called a view state. The view state is a usually encrypted string inside the source code of pages built on ASP.NET that contains even more data that isn't visible to the user. When decoded, it can tell us what user-made games were being played at the time of the archive. On the 9th of December 2006, two Brick Battle style fighting games made by Flamestorm 22 and Tadat 22 were being played by small groups of people. They were named Brick Battle Holy Grounds and Brick Battle Afterlife respectively. These games are both lost to time, though because of their extremely cryptic names, they're pretty intriguing to me, despite knowing that they're likely extremely bare-bones fighting maps made out of the digital equivalent of Play-Doh and construction paper. On February 17th, 2007, former creative director Shedletsky had a game open called The Artifact. No idea what this is. 2 weeks later, Shedletsky had another now-lost game on his alt account, Son of Seven list, called Catapult Assault. Again, no idea what this game is, and we don't even have screenshots or thumbnails to show us what these games looked like. Because these games were all replaced by new games shortly after their creation, and because the version history feature on the website to see earlier versions of games didn't exist yet, these games are likely lost for good. Before I round off this video, I want to take some time to talk about the pieces of Roblox lost media that, while interesting, I wasn't able to dedicate a whole chapter to. In 2008, Minish was known for being a talented developer who made builds that were intricate and detailed for the time, such as Kranos, Aldaker, and Shrine of the Fallen Hero. But for a brief period in late 2008 and early 2009, she made tons of one-off clickbait games to get Robux fast. This idea must have worked really well considering the pizza topping one received over 11,500 visits in the first 2 days. days, which was impressive for the time. These games only lasted on her profile for about a week, and all that remains of any of them is a small array of screenshots that were used as thumbnails. Considering Minish left the Roblox community entirely after she was IP banned in 2009, these games are likely gone for good. On the 25th of April 2007, Shedletsky temporarily opened a game called Roblox Photo Ops on his account, and held a small photo shoot for a promotional post on an online forum called devmaster.net. This was the resulting photo, and the Photo Ops game was closed just hours later. The game itself is a modified version of Grey City, another game that Shedletsky made and uploaded to an alt account in 2006, modified to contain billboards, detailed trees, different weapons, and a different color scheme. This version of Grey City is lost to time. In a previous video I made called the Roblox Lost Media Rabbit Hole, I talked about a variety of lost games.
Retro player back in 2012. 2020, that's when I joined.
Guys, am I retro? Look, I'm so silly. Forsaken, retro, gummy. Look, that silly gummy, and that's release the gummies.
On my mama, get this retro slop out of here, bro. Dude, on my mama, get this retro slop away from me, bro. On my mama, go back to Forsaken. Get out of here, bro. You don't even know OG games. On my mama, retro slop is so bad.
Retro slop is where people try to go for like an old retro look.
On my mama, get this retro slop away from me, bro.
When you're going for like an old Roblox aesthetic, but you're using like super modern, frankly hideous accessories like the stupid hair, the sparkles, and the guppy thing, every time I see this, I just want to kick it. I want to throw it in one of these. So I asked my viewers to go out into the wild to find real retro slop avatars. So this is a pretty good example. So retro. I think this is the work at a pizza place character. Yeah, it's this guy. I'm already finding retro slop. The Gubby update! Tell me you get to put him in the oven. So they took this guy and he made it 1.0. He gave it anime hair and an anime face. I don't know why they always put bandages. Maybe he fell off his scooter. Maybe he tried to deliver 25 cups of ranch to Ruben Sim's house. Holy retro slop. Retroslop, Scroob Dingus, they have like this language that they like to speak, where they're silly little goobers with their little gubbies and their little scoobies and the dinguses, little ding dongs. Why do they always put like, these anime faces on it? Why do they give all characters like flesh hair? Again, the skin color hair. Let me see what this guy's tweet is. Roblox logo history. So they changed their logo in 2017. Going to 2020. Wow. My culture is not your costume. Take that shit off right now. Oh my god, look at this one. What is this guy doing? 2024. Dude, you're so retro. Jesus Christ. He's still wearing it. Joined in 2020. I love Guppy. I'm gonna snatch this off this guy's chest. Look, he even has the too silly hat. I haven't even posted my video and I'm already getting hate. Look at all of the good tweets. Bro, it's so corny. Why is it always the corniest people saying, I'm a gay and trans goober? I'm just a silly goober.
Forsaken.
So about half of these people are calling me hot and the other half are calling me tough. Half are calling me gay and half are calling me homophobic. About 50% are calling me retarded and the other 50 are calling me ableist. I'm a self-owned. You're basically saying that everyone who uses Retroslop is mentally challenged. Protect the children, MFs when neurodivergent kids on Roblox.
Being a dick to our children.
I think the implication is that if you register stuff, you have to have some form of autism, which is insulting autistic people. Leave alone. He needed his monkey dose of bullying teenagers, or else he'll die. These people would not last 5 seconds in a Modern Warfare 2 lobby. Look at this guy, the silly. I'm a silly little goober. He looks like Flamingo's gay brother. He's got 15k likes, and half of them are like, he's so fine. Everybody's out me. And he's gay. Look, here's another. He's so fine. Get me out, chat. And then he's replying to every single one of these. No, stop. Calling me Flamingo is too big a compliment, so they just have to throw in the gay part. Bro, okay, this is actually the creator of Guppy. I had a lovely conversation with him. I just wanted you to not make that video because people sent me fucking death threats over that fuck ass rabbit. I just wanted to end, honestly. Okay, guys, do not send the creator of Guppy death threats. I can't believe I have to double that. So Guppy was supposed to be a throwback to the old magic morphs. These things, the puppy dog, the duck, the turkey, whatever the fuck this thing is, the baby morph. We all know the baby morph, right? Oh my god, what the fuck? Everyone's making me down. Oh my god! Oh god, what did they say? Free magic clear. Oh my god! Oh, stop calling me Retroslop, dude. Your family. There's nothing wrong with Retroslop. I don't have anything against it. It's just so easy to make fun of. It makes people really mad. I wouldn't be making this video if people weren't this sensitive about it. I think the reason that people find Retroslop so repulsive is like the manifestation of consumerism.
Do not shut down your computer software update on most popular operating systems. So on Windows 11, this is a pretty bad thing to do. While the software update is downloading, I quickly note that I am running all of these tests on an ARM64 MacBook M2 Pro, using a virtual machine in VMware Fusion. The results would be nearly identical if the tests were done on an x86 machine. However, on a bare metal x86, the consequences
These are the most mind-blowing yet underrated Scratch games. At number 10 we have Ultra Racer. So it's an open world racing game, and I suck. Like, the map is pretty nice. You got this bridge here in the mountains. I mean, you can tell a lot of work went into this. Okay, I really have to catch up now. It's already the second lap. Come on. Come on, yes. Yay, I won. Oh wait, so if you go into settings, you can change the resolution. Okay, the car looks better, but it's very laggy. Only 900 views on this masterpiece, so it's pretty great. Next up we have Replatform. You probably played these games before, but honestly more about the FPS. Yeah, come on. Alright, can I make this jump? It was just, why is it sliding so much? Come on, second one, yes. At number 8 we have GTA. This is so actually a good time to load. But like, look at that. Like, the graphics are absolutely insane. It reminds me of an old game. Though I wouldn't call it an actual game. It's more of an experiment, because there's still a lot to work on. But nonetheless, a very good Scratch project. It don't have 8,000.
Consequences could be far more dangerous this way. For example, you could keep your system entirely or now always unmovable. Also, I'm a little sick today, I'm always scared. But let's see what happens. Then what I think here at the time, because the virtual machine update is always solved. And it's not 50%, it's actually like 30%. Never actually goes 50, you just install it and I'm very... How do I know that's well? Because I failed this experiment twice already. And this is the third. And because around 29%, it's still enough. And this is where I forced the system to shut down. Let me go ahead and start it up again, and then wait for a little bit. We get this amazing blue screen. Just look at that sad face. And also, let me actually try to put that up again. And it will undo the damage that an incomplete software update has done. And so we get back in our system. We can see that it says update failed. And we also haven't lost any of our data on the computer. No, but what if I shut down the PC during the undoing damage phase? Well, there's only one way to find out. I opened the again and got the blue screen. I waited for a few seconds for it to go deep enough in the process and then force quit the machine. This was seemingly kind of first. We were soon enough to the wheel story. And then saw the undoing screen once again and back to mess with more. When I started the machine back up again, there was no visible damage. Everything was working properly and I hadn't lost any of files. So fine. So now let's see what happens when we use the macOS. Update installed right now. It is now completed. I started the update and on macOS it's pretty weird. The bar was like 30% and that for some reason. Shut down the system and the bar was coming to completion. Now once we start back up and log our account, we can see our system has not been updated. Our files are still here. And the software itself has disappeared. It has to again. And then it again. So I went back to the system and applied the update once more. This time I waited for macOS to update a little longer to the point it was almost done. And only then I forcefully shut down the system. This didn't do any damage and it was actually updated at the time. No, but what happens if we lose something major? What from macOS release to another? Check out macOS 14 case, so I'll macOS 15 so I have installed it. On my first day I waited longer than usual for it to install. And then I forced shut down the system. When I started the system again, it seemed like that was too late. The software update has been deleted. I didn't let time to once again. I made about 30% and I shut down the system. When I got into the system, the update was cancelled and we got more. This macOS is pretty installable when it comes to this. However, doing something to Linux is a dead sense. Here I have to upgrade my old tool for Ubuntu 24.04. So I can upgrade and read the notes. I'm just kidding, I don't care. Let's begin the process. No, let's see which exact update is right now. Because we can't do any damage if we shut down the downloads of updates or when it's preparing or setting up. We can shut down the installation phase, which is right now. So I went ahead and shut down the system completely. Wait for the machine and wait for a bit for everything to back up. Oh no, something is wrong. Ubuntu is completely gone. We can now completely reinstall our operating system. Check out the video on Microsoft 63 on most Windows releases.
Apple just lost one of their most important lawsuits ever. This will cost them billions, yet it was against the very stringent. But somehow, that's just the start of the problems. Apple's struggling. Since December, their stock is down about 10%. That's almost $1 billion in market cap. And to be honest, their stock hasn't moved all that much in the last 5 years. They're currently up 4 since then. What happened? Apple has historically been at the top of the New York Stock Exchange. But they're at
Every single year, Roblox holds the Innovation Awards. These awards exist to recognize the best Roblox games, developers, content creators, and more recently, UGC creators. For the yearly award show, the players get chances to vote for games and popular figures that they think should win in their respective categories in a voting hub. At least that's how it usually goes. In May, everyone submitted their nomination picks, then fast forward to the beginning of July, and the first round of voting was set to begin. It's natural to want your game to win, and everybody assumed that at least a few developers would pander to their player bases in order to boost their votes, but nobody thought it would get as crazy as it did. This year, Roblox decided to try something different alongside the regular voting hub formula, and I can say pretty confidently that it was not the best idea they've ever had. It fell off the rails almost immediately, and the event developed a poor reputation mostly because of one specific game. The Strongest Battlegrounds' owner, who we'll refer to as Santino or the owner, decided to ask the TSP Discord server of nearly 1 million people to vote for the game in the categories it was nominated in. Okay, cool. But what nobody expected was for him to also say that he would allow everyone in the game to use the highly, massively coveted admin character for an absolutely free playtest if the game won. Won what? We'll get into that. They were also promised quicker development of the most anticipated free character in the game's history, but everyone just shut off and forgot about it. The mouths frothing immediately went to KJ. What's KJ? KJ is the name of this admin character that millions of people will be using as Battlegrounds one day. It's inspired by a series of anime videos featuring a character called KJ, and it's the same big budget character. You give that credit here. It looks really good. KJ's Final Ride is the one specific video that the vast majority of TSP players know KJ from, and it's other times also a representation of how many people actually want to use it. This animal set when its Final Ride hunts. And around 4 months later, it has 7.5 or the top donator of all time in TSB. The current top donator has spent over 4 million Robux just to make sure nobody takes KJ away from him. And others opt to donate a month by at least $1, which just goes to show how serious they are about this. They are promising this character as a reward in, with a competition except for one. On July 1st, the voting began. The main voting area was RDC voting, which had various categories to vote in, such as People's Choice, Best Experience, Best UGC Creator, Best Video Star, and Best Branded Experience. This is the same every year, and the winners get announced during the Innovation Awards show at RDC 2024. And if you don't know what RDC is, you're definitely not alone. RDC is a big meetup of a bunch of Roblox
Windows. Windows is the most widely used operating system in the world, created by Microsoft. It was first released in 1985 as Windows 1.0. Originally, it was just a graphical interface running on top of MS-DOS. Everything looked very basic at first, but over time it evolved into a full-fledged operating system.